Good. Great. So hello, everyone. Huge congratulations to everyone for working through the Specialized AI Associate series. Just to situate ourselves, our session is the last in the Career Blueprint series. Hudson and I are so excited to be here and show you how to put some AI tools to use to help you build a repository for your career accomplishments and to help you accelerate your job search. So we're going to start with introductions, and then if you don't already have your resume handy, as well as a job description that interests you, we'll have time for you to do this while Hudson gives you a demo of Google's NotebookLM and shows you a really good use case that's very apt considering you have just completed educational sessions with UiPath. Then we'll dive into the hands-on workshop, and I'll screen share so you can follow along more easily as you all create your own career experience repository. We'll assess job fit using the job description you chose, tailor your resume using AI, and finally, practice interviewing with either ChatGPT or Gemini. So throughout the session, as Diana mentioned, please feel free to put questions in the chat. Hudson and the rest of us will be monitoring as best we can. We'll take questions as we go, again, as best we can. You can also raise your hand. If possible, please turn on your video so we can see you, and be prepared to screen share if you're having technical difficulties. That always makes it easier. And while we do our best to address questions, we may need to park some to stay on schedule. We'll try to leave time at the end for anything that's unresolved. And always feel free, of course, to reach out to either of us on LinkedIn afterwards. All right, so fun part. Please put in the chat any or all of the following: your name, where you're calling in from, what you want your next job to be, your level of comfort with AI, which AI tools are your go-to, and most importantly, if you could make a meal appear out of thin air right now, what would it be? So while you're doing that, I'll introduce Hudson. Hudson is a senior intelligent automation consultant with strong experience helping organizations improve the way they work through automation and AI using a variety of capabilities. Hudson has recently been focused on working with clients in contact centers and financial services using UiPath tools like Document Understanding and IXP to deliver smart, efficient solutions. I've been working in the software automation space for about 5 years now as a consultant and innovation lead, exploring new tech and standing up new capabilities. I've worn many hats over the years, including project manager, business analyst, QA, data analyst, and a short stint as a dev. I am definitely enjoying vibe coding more than how we used to develop. Recently, I've been focused on agentic automations for sales account executives. So I'm calling in from Toronto, Canada. Hudson is in the Greater Toronto area. My dream job is in AI and automation. I'm in the right space, helping to architect the future of work. So AI and humans working together to reach new possibilities. I would say my comfort level with AI is on the high end. My everyday go-to AI tools are ChatGPT and Claude for summarization, content generation, and as a thought partner, Perplexity for use cases involving web searching, and I'm starting to use Comet, if anyone's used that yet, for research tasks. Gemini still for video interpretation, and NotebookLM for querying a set of large documents. Cue NotebookLM. Be using that a lot today. Hudson, how are we doing in the chat?
Well, I'm seeing some interesting responses, maybe some that I didn't expect, but we do have Anil who's interested in being a farmer as the next job. So I'm always interested in how AI tools and things like that come into the different sort of industries, and farming, I'm sure, has lots of use cases hands-on that way. We've got lots of folks who are using Claude and Perplexity, and a lot of different types of jobs that people are kind of having experience in and interested in doing going forward. Some project managers in here, and some business analysts. So lots of interesting angles that people are coming from.
Amazing. Well, welcome everyone. We are super excited to have you and get started. So prep. So I believe Diana sent out a message to be prepared with your resume and a job description. If you haven't already done this, no stress. You can take time now to look for your resume. Don't worry if it's up to date. You can use it as an example to work through the exercises and then update it later. So for the prep, first, we'd like you to create a new folder in your Google Drive. Suggested name, Career Intelligence Repository, but feel free to name however you like. Second, upload your resume to this folder, prefixing the file name with resume for easier identification. And then lastly, upload a job description that interests you. So if you don't have one right now, just go on LinkedIn really quickly, put some search terms in, copy paste into a Google Doc in your Drive. So while you're doing that, I'm going to turn it over to Hudson now to introduce NotebookLM. If you're still completing the prep, just keep going with it while Hudson demos. You don't need to know what he's showing you for the exercises. It is very cool what he's going to show you. But again, no stress, and you can always watch the recording later to recheck his demo.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Mel. So today I'm excited to be able to show one of the new tools that I think a lot of people are interested in, but maybe don't know necessarily how to get all of the value out of, and that is Google LM. So we can think of Google LM as a lot of different things, but as a starting point, just a personalized AI notebook for gathering information from all sorts of sources and creating a repository which we can use to for all sorts of applications. Some for querying, like we do with our conversational AI tools. There's nothing, novel about the way that Google LM might do it. There are some really interesting outputs, though, that get generated. And so that's one of the things that I find really helpful about NotebookLM is that it's a great tool for learning and being able to take all of that information and create content that is part of that learning process in terms of generating things like quizzes, things like flashcards or mind maps. The outputs are just very interesting and interactive that way. So I'm going to share just a brief demo of kind of what is going into NotebookLM. For those of you who are experienced with it, apologies for going over some of the basic stuff, but I just kind of want to show you some of the features and some of the ways that we use it. And Mel, if there's any questions in the chat, feel free to interrupt me that way. So just bringing everyone to the homepage of NotebookLM. Imagine this is your school textbook, and you've got all of your notes, and each of these is one of your perfectly organized subjects. And you go through your subjects and you take your notes, but you still have to kind of look back and leave little stickies or highlight things. I like to think of NotebookLM as I have a custom way of just knowing what's in all of that information and just querying it at any time. So I'm going to create a new NotebookLM, and then I'm going to also show you one that I've pre-created for a really great use case, which I think a lot of people here can use, which is just understanding more about terminology or products. And in this case, I've used UiPath. So if we create a new NotebookLM, the first thing that it's going to come up is look at all the source options that are available to upload. So you can choose to upload any sort of file from your local, which is fantastic. And then you can also go directly to your Google Workspace because it is a part of the Google Suite. And this is a feature I really like. So you can go directly here and link and retrieve anything that's in your Google Drive. So I could retrieve today's presentation and I could insert that. And now that is becoming one of our sources. And what I like about Notebook is right off the top, when you add a source, it's going to give you an overall summary about what is included in it in that conversation. So it knows that we're presenting on accelerating our job search with AI, and it also knows some of the summary of each of the different titles that Mel went over to start. What I like about this is you can add a bunch of sources at once and then choose what you want to include later. So for this case, I'll just bring up, let's say, an example, just a UiPath documentation related to one of the capabilities like IXP. So I can come in here and I can actually just copy the URL and then I can paste it directly in here. And it will actually scrape all the information from that specific website. So a cool thing about this is you can also choose what you want to select for your sources. So you can come in here, dump a bunch of different documents related to similar or somewhat different subject matters, and then choose how you want to query that. So the other thing that I'll add is, there's opportunities once you've added your sources in to be able to interact with them in different ways. So for that, I'm actually going to go over to one that I've pre-baked. But does anyone have any questions just on, I guess, the purpose of how you add sources in and what can be included in here?
Yeah, Hudson, can you please repeat the second step, like the IXP, how you have added this, direct the link?
Yeah. Yeah. So honestly, I go and I grab I grab a URL from any website that I want. I copy it, and then I just come into this website area and you can go paste URLs and then you can insert it accordingly. There's also a spot for YouTube links. And then let's just say you had notes from that you had been taking in your OneNote or just from meetings and things like that. You can also paste those directly in here. So you can just copy text directly in. So for me, a lot of the time, I'm using this to try to solve something that isn't already written perfectly so that I can explain to my clients. And one of those might be, hey, when should I use different types of products from UiPath? And UiPath has really great resources online, but what I want to do is now tailor the specific situation of what the client is wanting to use to some of those documents and information that are available. So I'm just going to go to one that I've already created a couple more outputs for, and then we can take a look at that. So I think a really good use case, like I mentioned earlier, is just using it to learn about, the too long didn't read kind of approach that sometimes we have. So what I really like about UiPath is they have very detailed documents online about all of their products. But to be able to get that into one place and be able to ask specific questions, I found that this repository tool has been really helpful. So I'm going to use an example of document understanding or IDP specifically, intelligent document processing. One of the things we've seen in the last year is that UiPath has released their IXP tool, which includes functionality which was previously known as document understanding for certain types of structured documents. And it also includes components of the previous communications mining functionality that has previously been a part of UiPath. So IXP is now bringing together the ability to do document understanding with structured documents, reading unstructured documents, as well as that communication mining component. So as a consultant, one of the things I've been trying to do is get up to speed on how this all works, when I should use these individual modules and capabilities under IXP, and then how it makes sense for specific client scenarios. So one of the things that I did was I went on to UiPath documentation and I grabbed a bunch of the different websites that are, URLs for the different modules of the overview guide. And what I can do is load them up in here, and then I can query this accordingly. So I'm just going to say, let's say I have an invoice document from a utility company which features should I use to extract key details from this document type? So I'm not sure right off the top, let's say if I should be using structured documents, unstructured document features. I know they're all part of IXP, but let's just see based on the user guides kind of what comes out that way. So invoice from a utility company, semi-structured document, potentially, similar to invoices and bank statements. So they're going to recommend going with structured and semi-structured documents. And when I go into document understanding, I'm going to be using that classic document understanding component. I don't need to necessarily use the unstructured side of things, which might be used for documents that don't appear the same way. So just in here, I'm taking a look. There's also a pre-trained document type for utility bills. So that's really helpful for me to know that there's an out-of-the-box model that may speed up the process of setting up an IDP solution with the client. So that's just some information that I've been able to query from the chat. It's not always the prettiest sometimes when I bring information from Google NotebookLM. So oftentimes I might take this information, put it into something else like Claude or ChatGPT or Perplexity, and create an even more tailored version afterwards. But I do like that I know it's pulling from this information specifically in that kind of RAG type of repository. And I can use that to understand, where I got this information from. So I'll pause there. Any questions on that? Okay, so I think that's pretty standard. I don't think this is novel or new to anyone. We can do that with any of our conversational AI tools. Here's something that I think is unique about NotebookLM, which really kind of comes to that this is a study tool approach, which is just the studio has a multitude of ways that we can create outputs of this knowledge without me having to necessarily prompt it to give me those outputs. So out of the box, you'll notice there's reports, flashcards, quizzes. Before all of these tools were available, when NotebookLM was initially released, I was trying to come up with a really good prompt for, hey, ask me a series of questions about this content and keep asking me them and giving me feedback on whether I got them wrong or not. It was a little bit not as user-friendly, so I really like that they built this in now. So I can just click, let's say, report, and it'll start generating. It'll ask you for what format you want. And you can create your own format. You can choose predetermined ones, but you just click it and it will automatically start generating that for you. So that's one thing that I really like. But in going to that knowledge and learning component, I've pre-built a couple of these. And one of them is something like, let's look at the flashcards functionality. So let's say I'm trying to learn specific components of UiPath and the terminology because my clients expect me to understand that. What does the acronym IXP stand for? Intelligent Extraction Processing? Sorry, here, C answer. Yeah, Intelligent Extraction and Processing. So you can go through and it's already predetermined a bunch of the flashcards that would be helpful for learning. And so you can kind of just quiz yourself as you go through. And I think this is really helpful for studying your exams and your tests when you have notes and content that you want to upload. So that's one thing, is the flashcards. Another one is the quiz. And I think, again, this can be helpful for studying for tests. So already right away, it's got 10 of these. And so there's a hint functionality here down below as well, which I think is a nice feature. But what's the primary function of IXP? And I would guess it's to convert unstructured data from documents and communications into structured data. And it's going to say, yeah, that's good. And it's giving me some notes about the features. And let's say which IXP capability is specifically designed for processing short form unstructured communications. So let's just say I say something like active learning. not quite, and it's going to give me feedback about what's going on here. So it's just an intuitive quiz that's built in and ready to go. So I've really enjoyed using this and tailoring specific content to be able to quiz myself. Out of those ones, yeah, so we created that briefing document earlier. So it's put together in a standard briefing document format, some details. This is good for sometimes when I get asked, hey, can you give me an overview of all of this content? I can use this to start a conversation. And a client might ask me, I just want to understand everything about IXP. And this isn't a briefing document format. I would probably lend myself to just producing bullet points and things like that for when I'm when I'm producing something that I want to give feedback on. But it is helpful to know that these templates are available. And then finally, there's a couple other unique outputs that I think are really valuable. So there's an audio overview and a video overview. And I think these are really neat. So I'm going to share, I created earlier today just an actual audio file that is going to summarize all of this. So I know a lot of us, we get our information differently in in today's day and age. A lot of us probably do reading, but there's the too long didn't read kind of component to gathering information that a lot of us experience. So I've noticed that this feature, basically what it does is it creates like a podcast type of experience tailored to the specific content here. And you can give it feedback as a part of that. So if I were to click audio overview, it's going to generate one out of the box, or I can give it a prompt about what type of format I want. So, a debate between two hosts, and it's going to give you that kind of context to the output. You can choose languages and then also the length of what you want to produce. So the one I produced this morning, I just did out of the box like this, and it actually created an audio file for me, which is going to explain in a podcast format the IXP components that I included here. So I don't know. Can you hear this when let me know if you can hear this when I'm playing it.
Okay, let's unpack this. We talk a lot about automation, but the real roadblock, the big friction point, it's often dealing with just this massive amount of messy, complex data that's trapped inside documents.
Absolutely. It's where things can really grind to a halt.
So today we are strapping on our scuba gear for a deep dive into intelligent extraction and processing, or IXP as it's called. Now, this isn't just about reading a simple PDF. This is UiPath's whole strategy for tackling basically everything from a quick text message all the way up to, say, a 500-page legal contract.
That's a broad scope.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's some cheesy stuff in there. You get the idea, but this format for learning has been really helpful for me. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll put some content together and I'll download a few of these. Let's say I have a long drive upcoming or I'm headed to a client meeting and I want some context on either the industry they're working in or specific use cases. I could take some of this IXP knowledge, put it into this repository, and then I could also bring in information about things like mortgages or certain types of mutual funds and products and things, and bring that in and see how what use cases would be relevant that way. So those are just some of the outputs that are available in Studio. I find it fun to play around with these. There's other ones such as creating a video. I haven't played around with this one a whole lot yet, but I am interested in seeing what it comes up with. And then this mind map one, I think for visual learners will be really helpful, especially when it comes to like subject matters or process specific details. So I just wanted to give an overview of kind of all the functionality that exists within NotebookLM. It's really a tool that you can customize, come here and tailor to your learning. So I'll pause there. Any questions on NotebookLM? I think, Mel, we're also going to be going into actually creating one of these for our resumes, so we can bring things up there, but I'll just give a chance if anyone has any questions. All right, then. Over to you, Mel.
Thank you so much, Hudson. That was an amazing demo. Okay, so I'm just really quickly throwing up this slide before we dive in. So why are we using NotebookLM as your career intelligence repository? So we like NotebookLM for all the reasons Hudson just outlined. It was specifically designed to minimize hallucinations by strictly responding only with information found in the sources you provide. So just taking a step back, we agree with the consensus that it has a very low hallucination rate and is highly reliable. So we all have whatever experience we have with AI tools, and we know that there's hallucinations. We know that we always need to review the output with a critical thinking lens. NotebookLM is really tuned so that it is going to give you much less. I haven't caught any hallucinations. And this is why we're using it. Again, always use caution though and verify outputs. The other reason why a NotebookLM is well suited for our use case is that it handles much larger volumes of source content compared to most general purpose AI models. So if you keep adding to NotebookLM and use it as your repository of accomplishments throughout your career, it can be your go-to AI assistant whenever you need to remember what you did and when. So think of it as your personal career memory bank that can instantly recall any achievement, project, or skill you've documented. So the key, of course, is that you actually have to document it's always about the data. So without further ado, let's dive in. So I'm just going to reshare. Is everyone ready? Everyone ready to get hands-on? Great. Okay. So if you can all go to this link. See if I can get my chat window up. Question, is there an API for this? So many people have been asking about this since Google came out with the product. I don't believe they've created an API for this yet. All right, give me thumbs up, please, if you are on the website. Okay, awesome. Okay, so you're going to click Try NotebookLM. And you're going to click Create New. So Hudson showed this. Now, because you can upload sources directly, but because I like to be organized, that's why I asked you to be organized as well and put it in a Google Drive folder so you can easily access. All right, so let's see here. So you'll go to navigate to your folder and then add your resume. Give me some thumbs up after you've finished. Awesome. And just to let you know, of course, I created the resume using AI. So this is a fake resume, whatever you see. Okay, awesome. Now also upload your job description. Okay, so you should have resume and your JD in here. Thumbs up if you have your job description in there as well. And please feel free to unmute if you have any questions. All right, we got some thumbs up. Okay. All right, we'll keep going. All right, so Hudson had showed that you can select or deselect sources. So for now, while we're just getting used to NotebookLM, we're going to uncheck the JD and leave your resume checked. And then you're going to prompt. So I'm going to offer a bunch of prompts and also put them in the chat as well. so that you can see what it generates based on your resume. This is helpful too if you are at any point in time needing to summarize your whole resume for whatever reason, job interview or bio. Okay, I'm going to put another one in the chat. And this is really helpful so you can really see what strengths are being highlighted in your resume. Resumes can be quite long. You might not actually know what comes across as the #1 strengths. Is everyone okay generating? Can you give me some thumbs up? Anyone have any surprises with what came out as your top 3 strengths? Apparently, Lenny has broad technical versatility and full stack capability. That's fantastic. I'm going to put another one in the chat.
Hi, Malay. I'm facing an issue. See, when I click for my Google Drive, no, I have the file in that, but it tells me your folder is empty. Is there any settings which I have to do?
It might be that you need to convert it to a Google Doc.
Okay, thank you.
So if you open and then just save as Google Doc, or you could save it as PDF as well.
Perfect.
To PDF.
Thank
Try that. Let us know, please, if you still have difficulty. If all else fails, for the sake of this exercise, you could just upload it from your computer, and then you can see right away all the different files that it recognizes. Okay, so this question, how has this person's role evolved over time? So if you have a lot in your resume, it would be really good to see how, again, how your story actually appears in your resume, how you've evolved over time. And that includes not just your work experience, but any volunteer experience and educational experience, certifications, etc., that you've done over the years. Okay, and then one final question here, and then we'll get into assessing job fit. So what might be this person's professional brand or tagline for any of you who are wanting maybe to update your tagline on LinkedIn? This can give you some ideas. All right, so this is just to get you warmed up, and of course, to also get more insight into, again, what is coming across in your resume to people who are reading it. Thumbs up, everyone good? Awesome. All right, now job fit. Check your JD to include it as a source. I'm going to offer you 2 prompts. One is a shorter one, and then I'll give you a longer one as well. And of course, feel free to adjust and experiment as you like. Okay, I'll paste the longer prompt. Okay, I have a character limit in the window, so I'll do it in 2. This one has a match of 55%. I'm going to give you some time to review what it provided for you. Does anyone want to share any insights?
Hey,
Thumbs up.
Melanie.
Yeah, go ahead. Hi.
Yes. Hi. So I can share. Again, since I've used this for different use cases, I'm really thrilled to see this use case over here. And my insight exactly for the first prompt is I never realized how close my resume is to some of the JDs. So the percentage number really took me by surprise. Because probably I'm like an educated illiterate at the moment, because I never thought I could be so close. Yeah.
Amazing. That's amazing. Good to hear. So most of the time, I mean, the job match just initially with a sort of a general type resume, you might not get a high percentage. It's great if you do, of course. So I think it's helpful to actually see what does match and then what is considered missing. And maybe it's just not framed in a particular way. We all know that, when we apply for jobs, it helps to speak in the language, right, of the job description. I think this one's really cool. Top 3 strengths for this role. So we're going to keep going on like how to use this data. And does anyone else have insights before I continue or have any issues?
Yeah, and this is Amol. I just tried both of your prompts. Interestingly, either of them given me a 35% match. So even though it's a longer prompt, right, more detailed, I was expecting a little bit more, but I think exact same percentage returned.
Okay, so let's get it up there then. So
But it's good, right? At least I know where I stand.
and I mean, take this with a grain of salt, right? One, this is AI, right, making the match. Two, if you were to run the prompts again, it would be interesting to see if it would be around the same percentage or not. AI models, of course, are not deterministic. It probably will be around, but it would be interesting for you to run it again and see.
Yeah, I'm trying that same percentage again.
Okay.
Yeah.
NotebookLM, very tight. Yes. Okay, so I do want to show you before we get into some prompts for helping you to highlight your strengths and address the missing requirements in, of course, an ethical way. That's at the center of everything we do. I do want to show you because I had said that we're going to use it as a knowledge or an intelligence repository for all your accomplishments. So if you were to keep track of additional accomplishments, either expand on what you have in your resume, or, the resume can only be so long. So maybe there's a lot of things that you can't add to your resume. Or you're just, you're like Hudson and I, and you do a bunch of sessions, and of course you're not going to put it in your resume all the time. So, you're going to keep track of it outside. You can keep track of your accomplishments in a separate Google Doc. You can, organize or categorize however you like. So for example, let's see, volunteer. So this one, of course, again, AI generated, but this is really nice because it's already in the star format. So this is an example of an additional accomplishment for this fake persona. So what you can do is just connect it, add and then ask to reassess the fit based on all the information you've given it. So all your achievements. And now it has more of a full picture of you and what you've done. And then it can unearth additional strengths and things that you've done that would actually be a good match for the job description that you could highlight. So it may not be in your resume, but it's in all this other information that you've given it. So,
Mel, we have a hand up.
oh, sorry. Yes, please go ahead.
Looks like we're just connecting to audio here.
Okay. Feel free to unmute and ask your question whenever you can. I'm just going to keep going. I'll check in a moment. So the match percentage went from 55% to 75%. So there's other things in the accomplishments content that actually is a good match for the job description.
Just one question, Malini.
Yes.
First, we have to build the resume, and then we have to upload, and then we can match with the JD.
Yes.
And if it is not matching, say it is 30-35%. So thumb rule is that we should not modify the resume, right? Means the JD for which we are applying is we are not having those skills properly.
So I would say this is where I can't answer that for you. This is using your own like interpretation. You may still want to apply for it. So this is giving you, so we'll get into what you could do to adjust your resume, given what you've accomplished, to be able to highlight your strengths more to meet the requirements for the job description. I don't know if Rebecca has, if you want to comment on this, but there are some stats out there. People apply for jobs all the time with, I mean, it's almost impossible a lot of the time to meet all the different requirements. There's probably some core ones. And if you don't meet, you know, some of the core ones, you have a less of a chance. But if you can highlight your skills and your strengths that would enable you to achieve those skills, you might have a chance. It depends what the recruiter's looking for. You know, if they want 5 years of experience in something and, you know, that's like a hard requirement, then no, of course not. But if they're willing to have someone come on board who is willing to grow, who has all these different skills and experiences that could help them to accelerate their learning for this particular requirement, it might be, you know, they might still consider you. So it really depends.
Yeah. So Mamta, there is never like apple to apple match and no very significant chance of you getting lower than that, precisely. I think someone else said 37%. That's something would come. This tool is basically decoding your resume, right? Decoding what is there and where you have fallen short. For instance, I think, Mamta, you are from data science background right now. So in case that job description had, say, for instance, it's for an agricultural project that they are doing. And you have missed out on a project that you have done in that. And by chance, you can add on. Those kind of an add-on, you're not going to exaggerate from what you have done, but in case you have not put in the right place, right points as a significant point, that this tool is enabling you to see that and you put it there. That's my understanding, actually. Melanie, hope I'm right.
Yes. Yeah, no, it's like just speaking from personal experience, like the other side, right, where I'm looking for people in roles, it really depends on what I'm looking for. And I'll put everything under the sun in the job description because, you know, that's ideal. But am I going to get someone who matches everything? No. I'm really looking for someone who has the base foundational skill set to be able to grow into the role.
Hello,
But that's
good
just from
evening.
my perspective.
Good evening, ma'am. I'm so sorry to interrupt in between. I had joined in late. Can you please explain me once again? I have opened this LLM tool. I have uploaded my resume and my JD. And can you please help me with the prompt that I have to put in and check? How do I check the score of my JD? What prompt do I have to put in? Can you please help me with that?
Yeah, Hudson, do you mind actually to just go back in the chat and maybe do a quick summary? Is that okay?
Yeah, I'll just post that.
Yeah, sure.
Awesome, thank you. Okay,
Thank you so
I
much.
hope we addressed your question, and please feel free to ask again, and we'll keep going.
Thanks, Melanie. One more question. From the recruiter point of view, is there any criteria that they can set that a skill set should be 80% match, and other skills, soft skills, should be 30% match, and likewise they can use this notebook LM and find the appropriate candidate?
Yeah, I
Means
mean,
just for screening.
yeah, a lot, and maybe Revathi can chime in here too. A lot of recruiters are using various tools. I can't speak to what they're using, but for sure, I mean, some have completely offloaded screening, right, to software, to AI. We don't really know what companies are using, what everyone is using, but yes, for sure. I mean, it makes sense what you're saying. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, I mean, on that note, then it is really good to know how your resume comes across with the JD and the approximate kind of match as well, right? In case they are using tools like that.
Hi, everyone. Sridevi here. I have a question here. What I understood, it is one a pre-screening tool which the job hunters can use to assess their resume with respect to the JD. So my question is here, using this notebook LM, is there also an option or a feature to remodify my resume based out of the JD?
So this is what we're getting to. So hang on and let's keep going. And then please, if you have more questions, chime in.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So what do we have so far? Let's just do a quick recap. So we did an assessment of job fit based solely on the resume. And then we did another reassessment based on additional information about accomplishments that were not necessarily in the resume. So now NotebookLM has like this full picture. Percentage fit went up. We'd still like to get it a little bit higher. Again, if it is really, this again is the ethics piece. A lot of people are using AI to create resumes and such. It's up to you to make sure that however you adjust it, whatever suggestions that AI tools give you, it is actually representing you correctly. All right, so the next prompt. Okay. Sorry, I'm just reading Tracy's message in the chat. Thank you, Tracy. Yes, thanks for adding them. Okay, so if I were to apply for this role, how would I adjust my resume to address missing requirements or emphasize my strengths, being careful not to misrepresent? So if you guys want to run that through, see what output you get. And it would actually be interesting to see how you feel about the output. And don't worry, we're not stopping here yet. We're actually going to jump over to ChatGPT in a moment to help with the actual resume adjustment, given the information that NotebookLM has provided us with. You can use whatever AI tool you want. You could even use NotebookLM, but I find that ChatGPT or even Claude is better than at taking this information and then generating a new resume. All right, we have Hudson. Am I missing anything in the chat? Rashmi, you have an observation? Do you want to share? Unmute and share.
Yeah, sure, Melanie. So I was just observing that even though our prompts are identical, what you have received as an output is generated in paragraphs, and almost all of mine are in a tabular format. So that's also easy to read, but I don't know what caused the change because
Yeah, it's non-deterministic, and I never put in the prompt to specify the output format structure. So you could add that into your prompt as well to make sure the output is in table format, or if you prefer bullet point format. Yes. Okay, did everyone run it through and have a chance to go through and look? Okay, awesome. Great, I'm going to stop sharing for a moment. Now, while I've stopped sharing, can everyone log into ChatGPT? Free version is fine. Okay, guys, so if you can, awesome, if you can upload your resume and your job description. Put the prompt in the chat. I love that I can do run-on sentences and make typos, and the LLMs know just what I am wanting to say. Okay, so for the adjustments placeholder, this is where you just copy and paste the suggestions from NotebookLM. Okay. Okay. So it's asking me, would you like me to create the revised resume text? Yes, please. And provide in Word format. Share. Here we go. Again, giving you all time to take a look at your results, see if at first glance what you think, if there's anything in there that jumps out at you as being helpful, or some areas where you're like, that's maybe not interpreting what my experience is correctly, so I may need to modify it. So I did ask it to add areas to review where it thinks maybe it's going a little too far in misrepresentation. Here, so resume currently avoids saying that this person has experience in these specific applications, but implies readiness to learn. This one, avoid implying direct experience with formal QA testing frameworks. Resume correctly emphasizes validation, automation, and process rigor instead. Now, again, it's not to say that this is, going to be a resume that, you're ready, to go with. Maybe it is, that would be great. But you may need to make some additional modifications. Maybe you want to run it through again, as Jags mentioned, run it through NotebookLM again, see if it gives a better score, see if it has additional suggestions. Yes, so in the chat, ChatGPT is asking me to complete the adjustments section. What should I do there? So copy and paste from NotebookLM. So the last section, well, depending on what order you did your prompts in, it gave you suggestions, right, for how to adjust your resume. So just copy and paste the whole thing into ChatGPT. So right after the hashtag accomplishments, you can just paste in all the content. Any observations, anyone?
I got a tailored resume according to the JD.
How does it look on first glance?
Yeah.
Do you want to put it, anyone who has the resume now, the adjusted one, if you want to put it back into NotebookLM? So what I would do is uncheck, and then I would upload source. Where did I put it? Sec. Okay. Yes, Rashmi, exactly. Multiple versions are possible in a matter of minutes compared to what used to take hours or days to make the adjustments. Yes, that's a great observation. And I mean, some people are really good at adjusting resumes and wordsmithing and whatnot, and they actually, enjoy it. I'm not one of those people. I could spend hours and hours and I still am not getting anywhere. So this is like a huge help just personally for me. Okay, sorry, let me just find my prompt again. Checked. Okay. All right, so 70%, which is less than what we thought it could be with all the different accomplishments, but more than the original. So I would actually go through another round and then really look at the suggestions and doing maybe a little bit of rework myself. How do people feel about this? Is everyone there? Did everyone get to finish the exercise? Okay, awesome. All right. We can now move on to practice interviewing. You can do this. Okay, so first off, how many people actually like interviews? Anyone? Okay, at least though, of course, with practice, it can get easier and you can build up your confidence going into the interview. You might have someone already that you can practice interviewing with. The AI tools, I was blown away when I started testing this out with them. So you can save whoever you might have usually as an interview partner from having to go through the practice with you by just using AI tools. Oh, Tracy, amazing. You'd like to interview. Very cool. You have to let us know your secret.
I think it's just liking to talk.
Oh, I love it. Okay, well, I think you're actually in the minority. I wish I was like this. Okay, so guys, you can use ChatGPT or you can use Gemini. I've had luck with both of them. ChatGPT, if you're using free version, you're going to run out of tokens. You're going to hit your limit fairly soon. Getting the subscription for ChatGPT, I think it's still $20 US. It's a worthwhile investment, in my opinion, because hopefully you're not going to be searching for a job more than a few months. But there is a free version, so I'm going to try the free version with you, and hopefully it doesn't disconnect me like it did yesterday. ChatGPT is free in India for 12 months. Amazing. $20 confirmed. Thank you. And then Gloria, do you have a doc you can share with all the prompts? Yes, for sure. We'll pass that to Diana afterwards. All right, so I'm going to paste this link in the chat. Not a lot of people know about Google AI Studio. I think devs more so might know about it. You do, of course, same with ChatGPT free version. There is the data privacy caveats. So definitely, look up the terms and conditions to make sure that you are at least aware of what they are doing with your data. If you get, pro version or paid version, then usually you have options to protect your data more. It's not like it's going to be out there on the internet, but we all know from various things that we've heard that the organizations will keep your data for longer and potentially use it to train their models. So again, just make sure you read terms and conditions to know what you're signing up for. Okay, is everyone in Google AI Studio? You can give me some thumbs up. No, thanks. There we go. Okay. All right, amazing. Okay. So if you're not already, I'm not sure if it defaults to Playground. So click Playground on the left side. Yeah, and then Live, click that if you're not already there. And then click the Flash Native Audio Preview. Ready to chat. Okay.
What was the last feature to select?
So Playground, Live, and then just click on Gemini 2.5 Flash.
Got it. Thanks.
Right. So this one, you're going to have to copy and paste the job description in there. Just get that. Okay, why not? I will choose this. Go. Right, run.
Thank you for applying for the customer service representative role at BMO. Based on the job description, can you tell me why you were interested in this position?
Well, it actually sounds like a really interesting role. I think I'd be really good at it, and it sounds like a good organization to work for.
That's a good overview, but try to be more specific about what aspects of the role or the organization appeal to you the most. Connecting your skills to the job description will make your answer stronger. Let's move on to the next question. Can you describe a time when you had to deal with a difficult customer?
Okay, so I'm just going to stop it there. So I just wanted you to see how it interprets the responses. The response that I gave was not great, as you probably were thinking as I was giving it. So because of the prompt I provided, I asked it to ask me questions one at a time and then give me feedback on my answer before moving to the next question. It gave me some feedback, which I thought was great. You can also prompt it in advance to give you a chance to answer the question again based on the feedback it gives you. Again, as we all know, more practice makes, it helps. It makes things better. So even though it might be painful for some of us to go through this, the more we do it, the more natural we'll become, the better we'll be at it. You can also, prompt it to ask you different sets of questions, scenario-based questions, behavioral questions that a recruiter would be likely to ask given the organization and the job description. You could also ask it to help you to practice using the STAR format if anyone's familiar with that. But again, the idea is this tool is here. It's available for you to use. It's also free. Guys, any comments? Is anyone trying
Is this
this?
free? Like Google AI Studio is free, you're saying, right? No? Okay. No, actually it was showing me the tokens, so I got it out.
So definitely, this is one of my test accounts. I don't have any billing set up or anything. But I mean, if, of course, if you don't feel comfortable, spend some time, take a look. make sure you feel comfortable using it before you go ahead. Did anyone try it? Can I get thumbs up if anyone tried it?
Hi, Melanie. Hello,
Hi, yes.
can you hear me? Yeah,
Yes.
actually, I haven't yet
nothing
tried,
mute,
but I really, yeah,
Go
okay.
ahead.
I haven't yet tried, but I really liked the question, the way she was asking you when you asked about the interview and all. And I think this is very good. I hope for my next interview, I would use this and it will be helpful. What I wanted to know, does this ask technical questions as well? Right. Like I'm from software industry, so does this ask any technical questions as well, right? About a tool or coding or something?
You could ask it as well. So I put in like a customer service representative role. So I would say it has the capability based on all of the training that it has undergone, which we
Okay.
know is very comprehensive. So I would go for it.
Sure.
For sure.
I'll try it out. Thanks a
Okay.
lot.
Yeah, for sure. Hudson, what do you think? Are you going to use this for your dream job?
I just started trying it out and I was playing around with the different voices to see who I think would be able to interview in a different format that way. That was actually good too, trying out different voices and speaking to it. I'm definitely going to try it out. In fact, I've been going along with all of this and scoring myself as I go.
Anyone have any questions? Anything that
Getting to talk to a group of people like this is a dream job, so Mel and I are both very thankful to be here.
Yes.
I have a question, Melanie. As you use these tools, do they get more insight into you and therefore the response gets better over time, or?
So it depends on what tool you're using and if you have memory turned on. So I'll just say for myself, I like having memory turned off.
Okay.
It's probably, it's probably better than it used to be when memory was first introduced. I like being able to contain what it knows about me so that there's not so that I can focus it better. So there's not a ton of noise because it might just pick up on one thing. And I'm using multiple AI tools all the time, right? So it doesn't get a full picture of me. But I like NotebookLM. I really love that because you can put so much content in there and you can add so many things about, yourself. And it will get to know you. And it's contained. I don't know has anyone else tried the memory feature? Do you like it?
I have with ChatGPT, and I know initially it just picked up anything and everything memory wise, random things that I didn't think were appropriate. And I at least have the ability to look in there and clean that up, but it's gotten far better about being judicious and picking up the right long-term information and not, random, instructions on a piece of code or, that type of thing. So it's definitely improved significantly in the last few months.
Okay. Maybe I'll try it again. I don't know.
I was thinking if you're really looking for a job and you're going through many, many interviews and stuff, it might save a lot of time, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think where could we add? I mean, just in terms of like learning from, maybe even the mock interviews.
Like, I guess too, after you interview, you're going to learn some things about yourself or the questions, so you would add more, right? And then your interviewing skills will improve over time as you practice, correct? And I think that, that's kind of what I was thinking.
You could also use it too, just along those lines. You could ask in the prompt for it to emphasize questions that you tend to have trouble answering or you're not as good answering them.
Okay, that's helpful.
You can also ask for feedback about conciseness, areas that when you need to give better examples. So if you're thinking of that star format, if there's a component that you're not completing to tell the full story of how you were able to do something, then it can give you some feedback and say, hey, you're setting this up well, but you're not linking the results back to what you did. It can give you some feedback on that.
I'm so glad you mentioned that because that was on the tip of my head. Star. Yeah. Very cool.
The other thing, somewhat related, NotebookLM can actually help you to prep as well, in terms of, if you do prepare some responses or you're trying to practice certain scenarios, because, usually going into an interview, you've got like a handful of experiences that you can draw on for various questions. You could actually throw, the content into NotebookLM and then create a podcast or a video, as Hudson was when he was showing you around NotebookLM. If you're more of like an auditory learner, it might help if you, play it in the car or just play it on your, headset or whatever when you're doing something around the house. Just to, just that whole learning process to help you to, almost have it second nature, right? It's like at the back of your mind, and it's like you can recall like really fast in an interview. So it really depends on how you learn. So knowing yourself more to help you prep, and knowing that there's all these tools here and what you can do with them to aid in your prep.
These are super cool. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, on the chat GPT, I have kept the memory off, but in a NotebookLM, how I have to set that?
So NotebookLM, there's no like feature for memory. It's just whatever you have in the notebook and whatever you have checked as a source, it will use it.
Okay.
Yeah, you can save responses as a note. I'm not sure if they included functionality for you to be able to include the note as a source. Or if you have to do copy paste, put it in a document, include it as a source, if you wanted it to draw from that knowledge as well.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Melanie.
Hey, Yarashni.
Just adding to what you shared to Mamta's question, someone else had also asked on the chat. So NotebookLM is just a language model. It's not a large language model like the others, like ChatGPT and Gemini and Perplexity. So they're not really scouring the web for source information. They're just working with the documents that we upload. Yeah, that's one thing. But even I was curious about the memory feature, and I just found out some things from the web. I just posted it in the chat.
Yeah, so just want to clarify a couple things. So NotebookLM, yeah, it doesn't have the capability to do web searching. So yeah, you need to know what all these different AI tools are really capable of and what their scope is. Like ChatGPT didn't have like web search for the longest time. Claude, it took a while as well. Perplexity is like number one, of course, for web searching. It is, my advice would be to play with the different tools. Free, there's lots of free versions as much as you can, just to see, what the differences are, what they're capable of, how you can use them, right, to support yourself when you feel like you need added support from a tool. But yeah, NotebookLM is very contained. It was actually, it's interesting, the story, it was built for educational purposes. That's what it was intended for. But there's so many use cases for it, just because it can process large amounts of content really, really well. And it's tuned so that it's going to focus on the content as opposed to, drawing from knowledge all over the place, which is where then you can get hallucinations. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for insights. And I should clarify too as well, NotebookLM is like, it's based on a large language model, but it's the application in itself, right, that gives you all the different features. They could, you know, add web search, add it as a tool. But again, its core purpose was to just be contained right within the sources that you give it. Just checking the chat. Hudson, is there anything else in the chat that we should address? Yeah, so Gemini Live, yeah, we used it to prepare for an interview. You can also use ChatGPT. Again, they have a live voice mode. And then NotebookLM, yes, that can help you to assess job fit and then to provide suggestions for adjustments to be more tailored to the job description. And we used ChatGPT to then actually regenerate your resume based on the suggestions from NotebookLM. You can use another tool. It's just from what I've been using, I actually like ChatGPT the most for this, for actually giving
the generation
output.
component, Melanie, would you say that ChatGPT, in your experience, is good at, you know, thinking outside the box and getting creative with things?
Yes. Yeah. And so then if you then give it the specific instructions and ground it with the adjustments from NotebookLM, you have a winner, in my opinion. And then you can, I mean, ChatGPT is great with different file formats. So you can, like you saw, ask it to create a Word document for you. I'm not sure, I haven't played around with the actual, like if you can give it a template and have it be closer to your desired format for a resume. I'm not sure if it has that capability yet, but I would definitely try that as well.
Melanie, why we cannot give the same prompt in NotebookLM to rebuild the resume according to JD? According to the suggestions by LM only.
Sorry, can you repeat your question?
Can I give the same prompt that is to rebuild the resume according to the suggestions given by NotebookLM only in NotebookLM?
Yes, you can absolutely do that. And I've done that before. I just find that the results are actually better with ChatGPT, but for sure, experiment with it. As Hudson noted before as well, sometimes the output doesn't come out as like user-friendly, so to speak, with NotebookLM. ChatGPT is definitely better with that. But yeah, you can ask NotebookLM to regenerate your whole resume, and then you could just copy paste into ChatGPT and ask it to format it better. Again, you know, in my experience, I find ChatGPT better at actually, you know, generating the resume. Claude is okay.
The UI is a bit better too, just for being able to ingest what it's producing. So for example, if you try to put something in a tabular form in NotebookLM, sometimes it doesn't do such a great job. So yeah, I find using multiple tools for this purpose that you like it. I think that's the thing. You're going to want to figure out what you like about which tools. We know that NotebookLM, very good at not hallucinating, very good at focusing on the content and the context that you give it. But we're also using AI for multiple purposes, some to generate and get creative and think about the things we didn't think. And those are the ones where sometimes ChatGPT, and I really like Claude, especially for scenarios where in my work where I'm trying to come up with use cases that would be good for clients. And I'm trying to come knowing the technology and linking it to their industry. Claude is very good at being able to have that background knowledge and give good speaking points. So I think the big skill we have to learn is, you know, we have all these tools, most of them are free. A lot of them, you're just going to want to figure out what do I use this for? And that's in my toolkit. And then suddenly, you know, it speeds up all of those different tasks and situations you get put in.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, there's a good question in the chat. A resume prepared using AI tools, does it have a high chance of acceptance by HR?
I can't answer that question. I think it depends what the output actually looks like. I don't know if anyone else wants to weigh in here, but
one thing that I would add would be we know that a lot of organizations are using like AI screening. I think they're called ATS. So one thing I might do is prompt you know, one of these tools and say, hey, I'd like to tailor this resume so that it avoids these or so that it's not screened out by ATS types of tools and things like that. And I would do a little bit of research on what is being used out there and then tailor that and see if it can use wording or you know, highlight specific words that you aren't using or take things out.
thank you for that, Hudson. Yeah, I mean, we're in a bit of a mixed world right now, right? So you don't really know, but the more you know, I think the better off you are in terms of how it could look on the other side. So as Hudson mentioned, yeah, they're using an ATS to screen, and you know, you can prompt multiple tools and see, you know, what comes out of it. I would say if it sounds overly AI-ish, and we all know how that sounds, you might want to like revise it to feel more authentic to you. And always, of course, make sure that it's representing you well. Yeah.
And figure out what your tone is. That's a bit of a tricky one, but it can be helpful. Sometimes I'll use these preparation notes or something about a project that I've worked on previously that I'm trying to explain to someone. And I'll say, put this in more like basic terms, right? Make this more informal, but concise and focused on the things that matter. And I think if you're trying to use AI to build your persona that you're going to show to individuals, to, you know, get through that resume screening process and then get to the interview, you kind of want it to follow that same tone. So it's not easy necessarily, but if you're intentional about how you prompt, I think you can kind of get that consistency.
Yeah, and you just another thought just popped in my head as you were talking. It is definitely worthwhile to do a little bit of research on culture. And that's not to say that it's going to match the person who is actually, you know, going to end up looking at your resume, right? But, you know, if it's a very formal professional culture, then your tone should reflect that. If it's, you know, a more sort of, you know, agile, adaptable, forward-thinking, innovative organization, you can see what you could do there as well in terms of tone to match the culture. There is someone who put in the chat, most of the sites gives different ATS score for same resume, how to deal with it. Yeah, that's the challenge, right? So, and you don't know to, I think it was Rashmi who mentioned, you know, potentially their ATS system. Also, you don't know about the weighting, right, for each of the job requirements. So, you know, I mean, put it through and see what the, you know, what you get in terms of feedback and scores. Take it with a grain of salt. You know that if it's at the extreme, that means something, right? If you put it through a few, you know, different applications and you know, just take a look at the feedback, look for commonalities, and that will help you to pinpoint where you might want to adjust. But yeah, it's highly non-deterministic. We just do our best and we keep plugging away, right, guys? We just keep at it. All right. Thank you everyone so much for joining us. Diana, do you want to say any parting words?
Yeah, so I think that first of all, just thank you for coming. Thank you for attending this whole session. Just remember that we're also still available if you guys have any questions on your self-paced training or still need help with the series, we're here. Melanie and Hudson, amazing session today. So much interaction in chat, so thank you all for being so engaged in this session. And Ravathi and Tracy, thanks for helping in the background as well. And yeah, we'll send out the material that Melanie said we would. So when I get that, I'll put that out there as well when you guys look for the materials from these courses.
Wonderful. Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Great session, Melanie, Hudson.
Thank you. Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you, everyone.